Hey, 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 beautiful people, and welcome back to Mondays with Mondinay. This is where we dive deep into life, love, liberty, and democracy. And now more than ever, we've just got to tell the truth. I'm your host, Edie Mondinay, and tonight we're tackling some of the most pressing conversations shaping our society today. The marginalized community is shifting in ways we never imagined. The face of marginalization now includes those who once thought they were immune to it, like the white working class. Hello, how did we get here? What does this mean for the future of economic equity, democracy, and the fight for justice? Those words that seem not to mean anything anymore. With me this evening is Paul Block, a longtime TV producer with a legendary career. I mean, this is Mr. Entertainment. He served as a talent coordinator and a segment producer for The Tonight Show, starring who other than Johnny Carson. And before going on to produce The Late Show for Fox TV, The George and Alana Show, The Alan Thicke Show, and numerous television specials. His credits include working with the likes of Dave Chappelle, Ellen DeGeneres, Tommy Davidson, Jeff Foxworthy, Glenn Campbell, and Richard Belzer. You know, if he ain't worked with them, they ain't nothing. These are just to name a few, and Paul has also been an instrumental consultant in producing this very podcast since its inception. And he thinks he's my boss, but he ain't. Oh, he's married to the fabulous Gila Lane. He's lucky, okay?
I bet your bottom dollar.
Welcome.
I was going to say something else, but I realized I'm talking to a man of God.
Well, I don't know. I'm a man of God. Let's dive into this colossal deluxe chocolate cake. Woohoo! Right. And we're going to talk about all the stuff that's going on. Like, there's a lot of talk about USAID. And what is that and what happens when it goes away? So I want to tell you what that is before we talk about it. The United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and it provides humanitarian aid, economic development, and disaster relief worldwide. And its potential defunding threatens vulnerable communities globally. And right here at home, it strips away access to critical food, medical aid, and economic resources. What say ye, brother Paul?
First of all, it is a good benevolent organization that saves lives, gives away food, gives away medicine, and does that kind of stuff. The food that it gives away, I might add, is all bought in the United States. Mm-hmm. So it's a huge benefit to our Midwest, to our farmers. Mm-hmm. One more thing the USAID is critical for, and that is for making friends around the world. They were set up probably with the strong influence of the CIA, because when you make friends in a country, they want to be with you rather than against you.
Yeah.
So the CIA had a lot to do with it, and USAID, yes, looks after people who keeps them from dying from diseases, from starvation, but it also makes friends for the United States that otherwise might be turning to our adversaries for friendship.
Well, you know, they say if you feed them long enough, they begin to do what? They begin to look like you.
Well, in America, you feed them long enough, they begin to get fat. But no, you're right. But you're right. If you feed them long enough.
What's wrong with fat people, man? What's wrong with you? I love fat people.
I love fat people. A totally separate thing. I have so far lost 20 pounds in the last month and a half.
Hey, look at you
doing it.
And Paul's 96 years old, by the way. He doesn't look. What are you, 84 now?
98 next year. 84. I'll be 84 next month.
And it's coming up on him fast. But you know, hey, speaking of
anyway,
I just turned 66.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. You're welcome.
AID.
USAID.
USAID.
Yes.
Also works heavily in keeping down epidemics and pandemics. USAID is what we use to combat Ebola in Africa.
Yeah.
So if we don't do it and Ebola starts to spread in Africa, guess what? It doesn't stop at the ocean. It's going to be spreading to the United States, North America, Europe, Asia, every place else. You've got to stop it in its birth. Otherwise, it moves on.
You know, shake a hand, make a friend. When we talk
Absolutely.
about tariffs, who really pays the price? Tariffs often touted as tools to protect domestic industries frequently do nothing more than burden working class people. Higher cost on imported goods can lead to huge layoffs, which we're seeing, increased prices, eggs.
It's a straight tax on American consumers. It's nothing else.
It's an economic hardship.
Absolutely.
And for those who are already struggling, it's a blizzard.
A tariff can serve a reasonable purpose.
What's good about a tariff?
First of all, it puts money in the U.S. Treasury, but it doesn't take it from China.
Yeah.
It takes it from the U.S. consumer. So it's good, though, that the Treasury gets a little money. What's good about a tariff, say, years ago, I think it was the Japanese, I'm not real sure, the Japanese were dumping excess steel in the United States.
That's Japanese.
So that was hurting our steel industry, which was
Backdoor dumping.
Yeah, which was a real important industry in the United States.
Yes.
So tariffs against Japanese steel helped to support, maintain, and keep our steel industry healthy. Now, there are certain industries in the United States that need to be kept healthier than others. If our steel industry goes down, we're not real good at making tanks. If our aluminum industry goes down, we're not really good at making airplanes. So we got to make sure that's a good balance. We got to keep our own production and manufacture of that stuff healthy, but not to mistake anything. A tariff on something coming into the United States only slows down the sale of Japanese steel or Canadian aluminum because Americans have to pay more for it.
You know, we're watching the egregiousness. It happens so fast, and everything is happening so fast, and that's another show about the psychological warfare that's really going on and how we're being lulled and numbed and et cetera, and into compliance of somehow, and then all of a sudden this, I mean, it's crazy. I don't know how many of us sleep at night, but why do people, it seems, but more than people, let's make that broader, why does the constituency in Congress stand by Trump?
Well, the Republican constituency stands by Trump.
Okay.
The Democratic constituency is probably just about 100% against Trump. The Republican constituency, which, by the way, I might add, is no longer conservative. They used to be conservative. They are no longer conservative. Conservatives believed in balanced budgets and that kind of stuff.
Well, isn't part of his population outside of the constituency rooted in white working class economic distress and political disenchantment and
Yes.
cultural identity? Understanding this loyalty is really going to be key in addressing political and societal division.
But let me say that the Republicans in Congress line up 100% behind him because they don't want him to run people against them in primaries because he will knock them out of their job.
Yeah.
And they're scared feces-less. They're scared like all get out to lose.
Is there something like shit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. They're scared shitless.
I'm speaking to a man of God. I don't talk like that.
Well, I mean, we go to the bathroom.
And anyway, he's scared. They are scared. They are cowards.
But what are they scared of?
Of losing their job.
Okay, so jobs over justice.
Absolutely.
A paycheck
jobs
over
over morality.
I get it.
Jobs over what's right. Jobs over their own constituency.
Oh, so it's really just about what it all boils down to, honestly. And what we see is the chief rule in I don't know what you want to call it, that the money is the root of all evil. And we're seeing this evil created by greed.
Well, money is the root of some evil, most evil, almost all evil. I think there's other things at the root of this as well. I think there's a huge amount of racism that I don't know if that's monetarily promoted or comes from something
Well, guess
else?
what? They don't think they need our money. So, and they're invested in that. But if they colonize us and they take us backwards, they won't. They'll just need our labor. We didn't. America wasn't in trouble, and they didn't have any problem with freedom until they understood how much it was going to cost them. Free labor, it played out. So, if you can place us back in that vacuum, I think that this is where they really want to go. But it ain't gonna happen.
I have a theory that nobody has ever heard before, but I think that it is the goal of the oligarchs led by Elon Musk to recreate slavery.
Well, of course.
But not necessarily racial.
They never let it go.
Not necessarily black slavery. Slavery of the working class. I believe they're going to try to drive them so far into the ground they'll do anything to stay alive, make a living, including signing contracts for indentured slavery.
Well, guess what? It ain't gonna happen because we've got the unsettling force here. Martin Luther King made it very clear.
I wish he was here right now.
I do too, but he is, because he sat at the pinnacle of this movement for a reason, and he was a preacher. And I tell you this, the prophetic voice that he spoke in, said this was no longer going to be about civil rights. He knew he was going to die. He understood the dynamics of it all. He said, I'm not going to get there with you, basically, because they're going to kill me. He understood that. He understood the unraveling of everything that had been created to protect. And then the holy grail of Swiss cheese that was given to us as the public, laws that protect civil rights, et cetera. They were thinking about this 60 years ago. So we're on the pinnacle of that happening and being dismantled right now. But he said, check it out. It's going to be so dynamic, the shift, that folks are going to wake up, and I'm not just talking about woke folks. I'm talking about people who understand the treachery and the disease in racism, and folks that never had to depend on anything other than themselves before. Now we've got to depend on each other. So this is a good thing.
So many people are losing their job. So many people. One of my neighbors, a bright young woman, I like her very much, Erin. She's, for the last 10 years, she's had a job where she works for a company owned by a German company, but they have leases in the ocean out off the United States coast where they've been building and developing wind power. But the current forces, the current powers have decided they don't want the power taken away from their friends who own the oil companies. They've made her thing, they've cut all subsidies off for the development of wind power so that they can drive all the money back to the oil companies.
See, this is why the unsettling force, the movement that is focused on confronting systemic injustice.
How do we drive the unsettling force? How do we make it forceful? How do we get? Well, how do we make it an unsettling wave?
Well, this is what happens. We unite marginalized community as the face of marginalized changes, and solidarity across all aisles, across all cultures. Make it the real melting pot. You see, what has to happen is privilege has to take control. And so these people now who have found themselves, like your friend, wait a minute, they're doing it to me.
She ain't marginalized.
And, well, she is now. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So this is what the unsettling force is. People who find themselves suddenly are part of the marginalized community. The marginalized have a whole different look now. They're not the same folks. They're not just...
They have to be drawn together.
And that's what's going to happen. And it's not going to stop until we do it, because you and I are going to keep talking about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring people together as the unsettling force and say, hey, I don't know if you knew it or not, but you're part of the unsettling force. Come on, let's go over and talk, okay? So we're going to bring everybody together, and all the talking heads, people who have good brains like you, to sit down and say, how do we divide this work and conquer the enemy?
First of all, you have to tell my wife I have a good brain.
Well, yeah, well, she has a better brain than you, so.
She does.
But that's what it is. And then what we get from that, when you stir from the bottom, everybody rises. Okay?
Absolutely.
So, but you have to have the stirrers at the top that are able to stir.
That's right.
That's what the privilege is going to do.
That's right.
And then all that good stuff at the bottom, woo, those are the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Okay? It's going to rise through that sucker, and baby, guess what? We're going to be all right again. You know, it was black folks that always get folks out of trouble. We always say white America because this is really our America, and we built it, we sanctioned it, we pushed it ahead with the help of other folks that came and colonized us, and then we all got together and made this America.
Okay.
I want us to be Americans.
I want to bring up one thing.
Go ahead.
The darker the bear, the sweeter the juice.
The darker the berry.
Oh, the berry.
Yeah,
okay.
the sweeter the juice.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. The darker the berry.
All right.
Just like black don't crack.
So, these groups have to be drawn together.
Yeah, they got to come together.
And I'm not sure how that happens. I'm not sure how you find up until now, and I'm not saying they're racists, but up until now, the racist person who might be a farmer in the Midwest who's losing his or her living, to give it up and say, you know what? I got to join with these people over here.
Yeah.
How do you get them to do that? How do you get them to realize that joining?
You said it earlier. It's the money, honey, okay? Money and honey go together because it's just like honey when you got money. And when you've lost your money and your honey, you go where the honey is, and the honey is where the help is. There's a honey pot. The melting pot becomes a honey pot. So now we have to go and join forces with them, and they're going to help us get what we need so that we can all rise up together. There are 5 actionable steps that we need to take to get involved. Let's talk about it.
1.
Engage politically, contact representatives, vote in elections, and advocate for policies that support marginalized communities. Now, this is what we need to do. All of us need to come together and say, we've got a problem. We've got a problem. We've got a problem.
While you're in 1, before you go to 2.
Oh, yeah.
The way to get to your senator, and representative, area code 202 224 3121.
It's on the screen.
Is the Capitol switchboard. Tell them which senator, which representative you want to talk to, and they will connect you to that office.
Wow. So
give them hell.
Wonderful.
Call your person, call another person. Call Grassley and tell him it's time to retire. Or call your person and say, I love what you're doing, do it harder.
You know what?
202-224-3121, get a hold of your representative.
And it's on the screen. Look, educate and inform. Educate, educate, educate. Dumb folks, okay, we don't, and ain't none of us rap too tight, okay? We need to stay updated on issues that affect various communities and share knowledge through discussions and social platforms. Listen, talk about it on Facebook, talk about it on TikTok. Stop trying to be cute and start talking about being real. Talk about your issues. Let's talk together. We've got to start talking to each other. Listen, engage folks where you see them. I was getting some work done on my automobile today, and I was talking to the folks, and they didn't want to talk. There was some other people was waiting to get there. I started talking to them and said, "Where you from? What you doing? And how you doing? How you doing with this?" And they were and then they were glad to talk. But guess what? We need to have simple conversations. We need to know that each other exists and engage with each other.
I want to stop there and say part of that communication can happen right here with the folks at home watching what we're doing.
Yes, sir.
Okay? If the folks at home believe that E.D. Mondane has the right words, has the right attitude, has the right passion, has the right solutions, call your friend and tell him. Tell them there's this podcast you got to watch called Mondays with Mondane. Mm-hmm. Got to watch it. You got to get your friends to watch it because they're driving the unsettling force.
Wow.
Go for it.
Go for it. Support grassroots movements like this one. Contribute or volunteer with organizations that are fighting for justice and equality, the ACLU, the NAACP. You got another one?
I got a little list here for you.
Okay, wait a minute. There's a list. Wait a minute, hold on. There's a list. Okay.
Okay.
Run it
First
on.
of all, locally and nationally, there's local branches and national organization of an incredible new organization called Indivisible.
Oh, yeah.
Indivisible is working and fighting to make America your America,
Yes.
whoever you are.
Yes.
Okay. Indivisible. Get a hold of them. Join.
And then, wait a minute, there can't be too many efforts. The efforts have to be, however, recognized, united, and we need to support them the best that we can all together.
Now, these other people, I'm going to give you some initials, but you can reach any one of them by putting .com after that and go to the email. You mentioned the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union.
Yes.
They are fighting for all of us. They need money, they need workers, they need volunteers, they need support. SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference. They are fighting for all justice in the United States.
And that's King's organization. He founded
it.
these.
Used to be black people, and now they're fighting for everybody.
Well, yeah, it's about human rights.
NAACP, you know who they are.
Of course.
Your audience knows who they are. Here's three that a little bit political, guys. Democratic National Committee. They need the money to fight the Republican, the people who have become fascists
The
in this
leftists, the
country.
DNC, needs you.
The DNC, the DSCC, the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee,
An important
the
committee.
DCCC, Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, Planned Parenthood, women's rights. There are poor women in these red states, mostly in the South. They get raped by their uncle, and they got no place to go. They gotta deliver the baby.
I mean, there's a whole plethora of things that we've got to attack. And I tell you what, we're going to try to put a whole rolling screen of things that are available. But important is that we have to build bridges across communities.
Absolutely.
And make sure that we have conversations with people from different backgrounds to foster understanding and to bring unity so that we can talk about the things that you're talking about, the incorrigible things that happen in communities now.
Yeah.
Because now mental health, the aid to that is just going completely bonkers. I mean, USAID even fosters support groups or groups of people that foster mental health initiatives. Use your voice.
Use your voice. Just let me throw up one more
Go ahead.
resource. And it's
Oh, you're throwing up signs now.
one more resource, and it talk about crossing bridges. Advocate. The Advocate is the traditional Maine gay, lesbian, trans newspaper covering the United States.
The Advocate.
The Advocate.
Okay.
And those words, advocate.com. Advocate has an incredible list of all the great places you can go if you want to help join this unsettling force.
And that's a good point right there. Use your voice, people. Speak out against injustice. Look for ways to help, like the Advocate. We're going to have that address on our screen. You got to get active, whether through activism or media engagement or just everyday interactions. We've got to get involved. We know we could be here all night and we could talk about this all night, but we got...
What's your hurry?
Well,
No, I'm kidding.
my stomach is growling. Listen, go ahead. Let's go ahead and close in prayer. Paul, we thank you for joining us tonight. It's always a delight to have you on this side of the camera, and it's always scary to have you on the other side of the camera because he's always screaming at me, "No, don't do that!" And then and your insights are always right on. You're a smart man.
Can I do one plug?
Do it.
One plug.
Do it.
I administer two Facebook pages.
Okay.
One is my own, Paul Block. Find me there, and I'm mostly into politics. A few kittens, but mostly
And it's
politics.
on the screen. Look on the screen for me.
And the other one is Open Fire politics, and entertainment, and which covers both of my things. I administer that too. Both of them have a considerable number of members, and I invite other people to come. If they come to my own personal page, mention ED. Otherwise, I don't let them in. But Open Fire Politics and Entertainment, we get hot and heavy.
You know what? As we've explored tonight in a very short time, and we can't get it all told, the marginalized community is evolving.
Yes.
And it's time we recognize that economic struggles, political disillusionment, and the erosion of aid are bringing new faces into the fold. The challenge now is whether we can come together and create a more just and equitable society, or if we'll continue to let forces of division drive us apart. We can't do that, America. Now, for those of you who are listening, this is a call to action. And recognize the shift. Engage in the conversation and be a part of the unsettling force just by doing that. And until next time, I want you to do me a favor and stay informed, stay engaged, keep pushing forward, and remember my name, E.D. Mondonay.
E.D. Mondonay is a teacher and a preacher. I love that rhyme, but he does them both.
See, for those of you
got to
listening,
do that.
This has been a call to action, and this is a call to recognize the shift, engage, and be a part of the unsettling force. Until next time, stay informed and keep on going. I want to send some shout-outs to the people that do this for us and make it happen. Like Poshines. It's not just another restaurant, but it's an institution located at 8139 North Denver, right here in the Kenton District, and you can expect the best soul food this side of the Willamette.
Hear, hear.
Hear, hear. Aunties and Dante, he loves the brisket.
I love
Aunties
it.
and Tante's daycare services right around the corner. If you want somebody to take care of your children that you can trust like your mama, they can do it.
I love it.
Adorn Electric. They really light up our lives. They light up this set, and they make us look good.
They've also lit up our house.
There you go. Support this podcast with all. Anyway, you can visit me here.
I'm sorry if I blew your.
That's okay. Visit me here at 81. This is Paul Block, y'all. I mean, anything can come out. You've been good tonight. You can visit me here at Celebration Tabernacle at 8131 North Denver, right here in Portland, Oregon.
When?
Huh?
When?
On Sunday morning.
At what time?
At 11 o'clock.
All right.
And Paul will even be here. No, a special thank you to our staff. They're awesome. Dion, Robin, Andy, and Paul. Not one of them is bigger than the other, and guess what? They all stand tall.
And they have all become an incredibly wonderful production team.
Yeah! You heard it from the giant. If you enjoy this episode, please share it with your friends and followers. Turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing from Mondays with Mondonay. And be sure you follow us on Facebook. There it is right there. Punch it in. And YouTube. We love you. We want you to think great things and be okay. Be okay. See you later. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
You know, I talk about a lot about knowing where you came from to know where you're going. Well, I came from the projects of St. Louis, Missouri, and I ended up into the majestic mountaintops of Portland, Oregon. It's been a wonderful journey, and Lewis and Clark took that journey from St. Louis to Portland, and I took it too. It talks about who I am, and as I'm with you often in in cyberspace or on websites or on the, what do you call it, social media, I want you to know a little bit about me and who I am. This book talks about my fantasies, my failures, my triumphs, and more than that, it talks about the resiliency of being able to continue to go forward regardless of the odds. I'd get a copy. It's called From Maladies to Melodies. And I hope that you enjoy it and give me some feedback. God bless.
Hey, it's time for you to come to Post Shine. Check out that catfish sandwich. Oh my goodness, is that the shrimp po' boy? Man, look at that chocolate chip cake. Man, I need to get over to Post Shines at 8139 North Denver. right now because this food looks delicious. Or call if you'd like, 503-978-9000. And don't miss it, you'll be sorry.
In times gone past, we find ourselves making excuses so that people reminded, ooh, I've got to get home and tend to the brand new missus. I need some time alone. Can't this wait until I finish texting on my phone?